Hi everyone, this is a demo for controller test-driven development. So in this case, we need to split this edit really long method into several smaller methods. As you can see here, it's really long. And so this is, you may notice that the integration test is kind of a little bit complex compared to unit test. So, and it's also kind of special since we only need to refactor this method, and the behavior of this method should be the same before and after the refactoring. So it means that from that red green refactor step, we can skip the first red, right? Since we need to keep the behavior the same, so what we should do is to do the next two steps, which is green and refactor. So green means we need to write a successful step test case first. So in order to save time. Oops. Yeah, my test case is here. It can be complex, but I will explain to you one by one. So this test should be parsed. I already run it, and so then the next step is you should refactor this code and make sure this method is this test is still passed. And let me explain these test cases. So the first one, as you can see here, this one is okay, and as you can see, this Sublime already highlighted these model files, model names. So the first is sign up topic where to find these sign up topics. So since where it will return more than one, actually it will return an array. Basically, I stop this behavior sign up topic to receive where with assignment ID equal to 1. 1 actually here. I will explain later. So let's make it 1 and return an array. As you can see, I created two dummy objects. You can create one if you want. It's up to you. And then the second one, as we can see, assignment form. Do we find assignment form here? No. The reason why is that if we go to this method, it's actually here, and it's create all kind of new things. As you can see, we may need this assignment find assignment ID, but I already put it in before each. As you remember, for duplicate code, we could put in before each. Actually, we already stopped this behavior. And for assignment questionnaire, actually we put here. It's kind of a long code. So we allow assignment questionnaire. Actually, this is to receive some where method and some variables and try to return. Also, I create a dummy object, but if you could also mention some attributes if you want, but you need to mention them. And then if we go back here, we already finished this one, and this one, it's the same. Assignment questionnaire where. So we could reuse this line, right? And for the fourth one, assignment due date where. And it's kind of the same, but this time I create due date object, and then I stop this behavior like assignment due date, receive where, and parameters and return. Remember, where is return an array, so even you just mock one object, you need to put into an array. Then for these are just variable assignment. You do not need to mock something, right? And assignment form, you will notice here, assignment form dot assignment. You already find assignment form dot assignment is we already do it as we mentioned before. And assignment dot participant dot size. So as you can see, we already got assignment, right? Which is assignment. So where are the participants? So if we look up here, I already create the assignment variable for you, and I build, right? Instead of this here, wait, instead of I use double, I build, since I need some variable attributes from that factories, from that assignment factory. And as you can see, I even created the participants attribute for you, and I build participants, and I build teams. So these participants will go here, and the size will be 1. And the team size is also here, it will also be 1. So the same, it's the same. And we want this situation, I forgot to introduce, is when assignment has staggered deadline. So assignment form dot assignment dot staggered deadline, so it's true. So where do I define? You may guess already. So we define it here, since that staggered deadline is true. Then we could go into this if condition, and yeah, for here, assignment dot number review runs. Actually, this is not an attribute. So this is a method. So if we look this method, we will find here, and you could stop these things. Actually, it's already here. Assignment due date, right? But currently, I just make it easy and to receive it. So it's kind of trade-off. So if you mock too many things, stop too many behaviors, your test will be kind of meaningless. So it's you could look into these files and try to mock each step, stop each steps, and go through this file. Or you can make it easier to mock the whole method and try to stop the return value. So it's up to you, but you should not to stop the whole method too much times. Otherwise, your test cases may never fail. So that's kind of meaningless tests. So before that, after that, I mean, yeah, these things you do not need to mock, and keep going on, and then you will find, yeah, keep going on, and you will find this empty rubric list. So you'll find it here, and you will find this questionnaire also need to mock. So I stop this questionnaire here. You may notice I also use double but with attributes. And then this is a key point here. Since for each controller, oops, let me find it, and we only write the tests for these methods which has corresponding view page. So if one method do not have corresponding view page, we will not write it. So for pass for this method, maybe we will not write it. So there's no corresponding pass view to this method, and also this method do not have redirect to another page. So with this kind of method, we do not need to write integration tests. So in theory, this method should be covered by writing test cases for other method. So these parameters we will find in this method here, like primes. So this ID means we just mock the primes as ID is 1. So this explains why we write 1 here. So primes is always string, so we need this mark here. And after we do this primes, since edit page, we need to get, edit, and pass these primes. And our expectation is like it will have a fresh null error message. So you need to expect this error message to equal the message. And also we can have another expect So so the response, which will be the response of this get action to render this edit page. So basically this is a process. It's kind of complex, but after you're familiar with this process, I believe you could also write by yourself. And another thing you may have is, since it can be tricky, which kind of method should I need to write, right? And should I need to stop? So there are many methods here. So one thing you could use, I think is helpful, is, for example, I comment on this line. So it will be like, if we run this method again, it should be fail. So since something is not mocked, it's not stopped me specifically. Yeah. So right now it's still passed. So how about more obviously this way? Oh, I'm sorry, why it's passed? So I did not save. Okay, after save it, it should fail. Yeah, just wait. Yeah, it's failed. Okay. And from these backtrace, you will find blah blah blah. As you can see here, assignment controller dot, yeah, line 242, and yeah, you could look into it. So at the beginning, you do not need to make the test cases passed at the first attempt, right? You could try it multiple times. As you can see here, oh, you find it. Oh, questionnaire where this method, you do not need to you did not stop this line. So after you stop this line, it should okay, right? And if you just save the file and try to commit again, it should pass. Yeah, it's passed. So after that, so since we skipped the red step and we already finished the green step, so the last step is refactor. So now you can try to refactor this method and into several smaller methods and make sure this test case is passed. So hopefully this method, this demo video is helpful. Thank you.